Welcome back to Explaining Everything, the channel where we dive into the stories and mysteries behind everyday things. Today, we're breaking down a question from one of our curious viewers, Crumbs on the Blanket. Thanks for the question, Crumbs. You asked, where did the term picnic come from? Like, who looked at cheese, a basket, and a park and thought, ah yes, picnic? Why does it sound so cheerful? Why does it sound like something you'd say to a dog, you want to go for a picnic? And where did it actually come from? It turns out the word picnic has a surprisingly bougie beginning. And things only get weirder from there. Let's get into it right here on Explaining Everything. Let's rewind to late 17th century France. Picture powdered wigs, tiny glasses of wine, and aristocrats who never sat on the ground voluntarily. The earliest version of the word appears as pique-nique. Sounds fancy, right? That's because it was. Back then, a pique-nique didn't involve plaid blankets and potato salad. It was more of a social event where guests brought their own wine or dishes to a communal meal, kind of like a potluck, but with a higher risk of someone reciting poetry at you. The word itself is a combination of two French verbs, pique, which means to pick or to peck, and nique, which was slang for a small thing or a trifle. So the literal meaning? To pick at little things. Not birds, food. Yes, the word picnic literally means snacking on bits of stuff, which is, honestly, the most accurate food description I've ever heard. So, basically, in the 1690s, if you were invited to a pique-nique, you were headed to a fashionable indoor gathering with lots of shared dishes, lots of smug faces, and at least one guy named Philippe trying to flex his new cravat. Fast forward about 100 years. The French Revolution happens. A lot of rich people lose their heads, literally. And the whole idea of lavish indoor parties becomes, let's just say, less popular. So what happens to the word pique-nique? It packs its bags and sails across the English Channel like an elegant refugee of fine dining. By the early 1800s, the British pick up the term and do what the British do best, make things just a little more awkward and a lot more outdoors. Now, instead of indoor potlucks with powdered wigs, you've got respectable families lugging baskets into the countryside, sitting uncomfortably on damp grass, and pretending that bees don't exist. It's around this time the word starts being anglicized into picnic, spelled the way we know it today. And while the meaning shifted toward outdoor meals, the basic idea of a shared informal meal stayed the same. Once the Brits popularized picnicking outdoors, the idea spread fast, especially in the Victorian era. This was the golden age of leisure for those who didn't need to work, which sounds nice until you remember they wore corsets to chase frisbees. The Victorians took picnics to the next level. We're talking multi-course meals in the woods. Picture lugging roast beef, cutlery, candlesticks, and an entire watermelon into a field just to eat it uncomfortably while pretending your ankle isn't touching a root. By the late 19th century, the idea of the picnic had gone fully mainstream. It became a symbol of leisure, romance, and good clean fun. Artists painted them. Poets wrote about them. Disney eventually animated woodland creatures attending them. By the time the word landed in America, the picnic was already evolving into something more casual. Americans were like, wait, we can skip the silverware and just bring fried chicken? And that's when the magic truly happened. The American picnic became a democratic BYOB, ketchup-stained evolution of its French ancestor. From church picnics to company outings to those deeply suspicious potato salads at family reunions, picnicking was now officially for everyone. And yes, we brought ants along for the ride. Ants, bees, wind, and that one guy who always brings warm soda and forgets napkins. These are now part of the time-honored tradition. In a way, we should thank the French for the word, the British for the blanket, and Americans for turning it into an excuse to eat suspicious amounts of deviled eggs while dodging frisbees in a public park. From pique-nique, meaning to pick at small things, to today's full-blown chips and checkered cloth extravaganza, the word picnic has traveled through centuries, countries, and at least 3 varieties of potato salad. And through all its transformations, one thing has stayed the same. It's still about gathering with people you mostly like, sharing food that's slightly too warm, and trying to look chill while battling bees for custody of your soda. So the next time you're unwrapping a sandwich while swatting away a wasp, just remember, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who thinks eating outdoors is just code for inviting raccoons to dinner. And hey, if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about, here on Explaining Everything.